welcome Canada's Yoshua Bengio.
Let me start by stating something that's probably obvious for many researchers in AI and neuroscience, but for many people it isn't, which is that your brain is a machine. It's a biological machine. That's what neuroscientists are trying to figure out. And what it means is that there's no scientific reason to think that we couldn't build machines as smart as humans in the future. Well, when exactly is another question, but as Jeff Hinton has explained in a recent talk, digital computers have advantages over analog brains. Analog brains also have advantages in terms of computer energy efficiency, but in terms of the ability to absorb large quantities of data and to share information at high rates between computers so that they can learn in parallel, as Max was talking about. So you can have thousands of computers sharing what they've learned. For example, right now we already have AI systems that can read the whole internet very quickly, which a human couldn't do in many 10,000s of lifetimes. So this gives them advantages if we are able to build machines that have the same principles of intelligence as we have. And that means it's very likely that we'll build machines that are superhuman. Now, when is that going to happen? Well, Jeff Hinton and Yann LeCun and myself, who won the Turing Award for deep learning, actually all agree that it may be anywhere between just a few years and a few decades, something like 5 to 20 years with some confidence interval. Now, if it's a few decades, that may be reassuring, but if a few years, I think we should be concerned. And in any case, it doesn't change the question of tonight, which is there existential risk? It's not about how far into the future it is. I changed my mind about this whole question because the time scale changed. If you had asked me just a few years ago, I would have said, well, maybe a few decades or centuries, because I thought, like Jan, like Melanie, that it was too far away. Now, I'm sure many of you have tried ChatGPT or GPT-4, and you can't really avoid noticing that these machines are incredibly powerful. In fact, they pass what Turing, who gave his name to the prize we won, defined as the Turing test, in the sense that when you dialogue with these systems, you may not be sure if you're talking to a human or a machine. Now, it's been also the job of many scientists like myself to try to figure out what is missing. And I agree with Jan and Melanie that there are important ingredients missing, but are they something we'll figure out in just a few years or a few decades? It's hard to say. I can tell you that the things that I'm working on, which is something on the order of reasoning, right now these systems are really good at something like intuitive intelligence, but not so much at reasoning and thinking through before they're saying stupid things, is something that could potentially be solved very quickly. Or maybe there'll be obstacles on the way. We don't know. So this is a problem, and as Max said, once the recipe for building these things is available, or even worse, the parameters, the weights, so somebody could download this and give it instructions that could be very, very harmful, because imagine systems that are many times smarter than us could defeat our cybersecurity, could hire organized crime to do things, could even hire people who are legally working on the web to do things, could open bank accounts, could do all kinds of things just through the internet, and eventually do the R&D to build robots and have its own direct control in the world. So in a way, where we're going is, and that's really, I'm channeling Jeff Hinton here, coming up with a new kind of entity in the world that may have its own self-preservation goals, which is something that also Max explained why it may happen. It may happen because somebody asks it to do something bad, or it may happen because of what I call a Frankenstein sort of tendency of us wanting to build machines that are like us. And once we have machines that have a self-preservation goal, well, we are in trouble. Think about what happens when you want to survive. You don't want others to turn you off, right? And you need to be able to control your environment, which means control humans. So existential risk isn't just, well, we all disappear. It might be that we're all disempowered, that we are not anymore in the control of our destiny. And I don't think this is something we want. Last slide, which I won't have time to go in details, but I'm writing a blog post, which I'll post soon, where I've tried to take all of the comments and questions that people have asked me about this question and trying to answer all the critiques about, oh, we should not worry about existential risk. And up to now, I unfortunately haven't been convinced by these arguments. I would really like to be convinced and lay these concerns to rest. But all of the arguments I've heard and we'll discuss tonight have not been good enough.